They say 3 into 1 won't go. That's pretty much basic maths we learn at school. And that's something that Mercedes are definitely going to have to calculate, show their workings out, and ultimately show the examiner us what they come up with. All that and a bit more. So 3 into 1 won't go. Interesting story. The reason why we're talking about this now is Nico Rosberg, yes, the 2016 world champion. He's come out and said George Russell, in his opinion, is not safe at all. He fears that George Russell, his time at the Mercedes team could, and I emphasise, could be running out. But, you say, Mercedes confirmed their driver lineup for 2025. Yes, indeed, they have. That was at last weekend's Italian Grand Prix, with Kimi Antonelli promoted as Russell's new teammate, following early in February the shocking Ferrari getting Lewis Hamilton. So the Brackley-based team, they opted to sign the teenage sensation, if you will, after they admittedly, at least for 2025, abandoned their efforts to get Max Verstappen from Red Bull, with team boss Toto making no secret of signing the 3-time champion. He was pretty much flirting with him in public, all but, I think it almost got as romantic, but we didn't quite see them share a picnic. But yeah, it was love. It definitely seemed like. But anyway, I digress. It remains to be seen, though, whether Wolff will try again to sign Verstappen, contracted to Red Bull until 2028. But there are, as we all, contract paper not worth the paper, paper not worth the paper it's written on. Yeah, that makes sense. But contracts are not worth the paper they're written on. So next year, ahead of F1's 2026 regulations, Mercedes preparations are thought to be quite advanced. For example, they're meant to be having a very, very good engine. Now, while the length of Antonelli's contract is unspecified, Russell's current deal is due to expire at the end of the season. Rosberg is convinced, apparently, that 2025 may well be a shootout between George Russell and Verstappen. Or maybe even George Russell and Kimi Antonelli. Contracts, as we know, are made to be broken. So the 2016 world champion, he fears that Russell has, next year, everything to lose as the likely team leader alongside Antonelli. He said George Russell, and this is on Sky, George Russell is not safe at all because Toto still wants Max and he will try again in 2026 because give up does not appear in Toto's vocabulary. If Max does become available, and I do think it's a possibility, then it's a shootout between George and Kimi next year at least. And it's a lot of pressure on George because he has everything to lose next year. He should be the one ahead internally because Kimi is 18, he's completely new and in a full pressure situation. It's not an easy situation for George. He said Wolff vowed to keep the communication open in relation to Verstappen, but stressed it's much too early to say whether Mercedes could land him in 2026. And he told the BBC, for the benefit of our drivers next year, I don't want to have any conversation about 2026 or beyond, because we very much hope that 2025 lineup will be the lineup going forward. Early this year, Eddie Jordan claimed that Wolff had met with Mercedes chairman, owner of the team sponsors in Ineos as well, to prepare a fighting fund to cover Verstappen's salary in the event of the world champion's departure from Red Bull. Verstappen reportedly earned 70 million over the course of his record-breaking 2023 season, with Russell thought to have netted only 8 million. What I will say, though, that's a lot of money. Verstappen isn't 62 million better than George Russell, and I genuinely think if Verstappen and George Russell had a shootout in the same team, everything being fair, they're both happy with the car, I don't think Verstappen, I know a lot of people will predict it, but I don't think Verstappen would have it all his way, and at the very least, he wouldn't win by much. It would definitely be Max Verstappen's biggest test if he went up against someone like George Russell. Kimi Antonelli currently is, let's be fair, very much an unknown quantity. So why are we saying this? Well, there's reports out yesterday on Planet F1 and other sites that Verstappen reportedly, once again, massive pinch of salt, wants to leave Red Bull with drastic action not ruled out. That's the 3-time world champion Verstappen. He's cemented his place, let's be fair, as one of the greatest drivers of this generation, winning 51 of the last 82 races. That stretches back all the way to 2021. Believe that. But F1 rumours are suggesting that Max has no intention of seeing out that Red Bull contract. He is in currently the midst of his longest longest victory drought since 2020. I know the media like to make big things about that, having failed to win any of the last 6 races. He last triumphed, to be fair, June 23rd. It does seem a long time ago. It's not that long, but it was June the 23rd Spanish Grand Prix. Now, although he continues to have what is a 62-point lead over Lando Norris, partly thanks to McLaren themselves, but Red Bull's mid-season slump has prompted further speculation over his future. Now, despite having a contract, as we know, to 2028, Verstappen has been heavily linked with a move to the Mercedes team following Lewis Hamilton's surprise defection, I guess you could describe, to Ferrari. Toto Wolff is, once again, as we know, he really, really wants Verstappen. And Verstappen himself has gone on to describe his current car, the RB20, as a monster, urging the team to turn the car upside down in order to get to get it sorted, basically. So 4 seasons at Red Bull, but a report by the German publication Blick has claimed that Verstappen wants to leave as soon as possible, with it long since agreed by his camp that he will not see out the duration of the deal. Massive grain of salts, tinfoil hats. But it is said that Verstappen's bond with Horner has been cut, as in not as good as it used to be, with the high-profile departures of both Newey and Wheatley. Red Bull's long-serving sporting director, in case you didn't know, and obviously Adrian Newey doesn't need an introduction, one of the best designers ever in Formula 1. But with many question marks over Red Bull's and their in-house engine project with Ford for 2026, that is rumoured not to be very good. Once again, a rumour. Once again, take the salt. But it would seem there's a lack of alternative options. Could force him into a sabbatical if he's got nowhere to go. As we know, we've got Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri at McLaren, Hamilton and Charles Leclerc tied to multi-year deals at Ferrari. Mercedes could be Verstappen's only hope if he wanted to leave Red Bull. Now, Mercedes opted against rectifying or specifying the length of Antonelli's contract following his promotion at Monza. And incidentally, as we already know, George Russell's contract runs out at the end of 2025. However, it is claimed that it could prove very difficult for Verstappen to force way into Mercedes if both Antonelli and George Russell have a cracking season. So he could potentially take a sabbatical and then see where he goes. Or he could leave Formula 1 altogether. He did say, is he going to last another 200 races? Probably not. Now, asked about Verstappen's future, Horner said, I find it surprising how much discussion in the open media there is about this topic. The situation was always very clear between ourselves and Max. I think that others can talk, but we're comfortable where we're at. It's down to us to deliver. We have an agreement till 2028, so it's down to us to deliver. That's interesting he says that. I mean, he says we have an agreement until 2028, so it's down to us to deliver. Does that kind of mean that there are performance clauses in there? Because it's an agreement, and then Horner says, we've got to deliver. He said, I didn't see Toto's car performing that well at Zandvoort. 2028 is a long way away. It's down to us to provide a race-winning car. And there we go. Every contract has a performance element in it. There it is, Christian. We're not going to talk about what those elements are. Of course, he's not. But as long as we provide a competitive car, we know what the situation is. Very, very true, I guess. So do you guys think Verstappen is going to stay put at Red Bull until 2028? I don't want to say next year or the year after. I want to say until 2028 to see out his contract. I'm not so sure. A lot of it depends on where he could go. But I think George Russell and Kimi Antonelli, I mean, if they end up winning both championships next year, for example, why would you want to get rid of him? George Russell on 8 million, yes, it might be a bit more, but he's not going to be anywhere near the 70 million that Verstappen may well demand. That's going to be interesting. Kimi Antonelli also is going to be a lot cheaper. What do you guys think? Have a subscribe, though. If you don't want to miss a video, a Formula 1 video, hit that notification button if you want. That would be lovely. And stay safe, and we'll speak to you soon. Thank you very much.